All right. So 5 best bird feeder plants. So there's lots of ways you can, well, there's a few ways you can feed a bird. Um, the obvious ones that you see here in Will Stewart's amazing photographs are with um, fruits, really. So the beautyberry, the dogwood fruits, the winterberry fruits, and then this black cherry fruits. Those are all obvious fruits, but that beautiful goldfinch there sitting on the echinacea, just the way that they will attack your rudbeckias, they will also explore and exploit your purple cone flowers. And what they are after are, we would just call them the seeds inside, but technically they are fruits. So these are, fleshy fruits or seeds that they're after. But most of us are now becoming more and more aware of the vital role that actually insect larvae play in feeding birds, specifically baby birds. And so that's why we had to throw into this, besides the things you can catch the birds out there eating when they're in fruit, we had to put trees in. And there's many trees that can support a wide variety of caterpillars to feed baby birds. But we put the one down at the bottom there, the oaks, is one of Doug Tallamy's sort of #1, insect baby bird feeding plants. So we put that one in there. And then, of course, the black gum and black cherry are once again for the fruits, but the black cherry also harbors quite a few insect larvae. So I believe Larry's going to talk about a little bit more about winterberry and maybe a little bit more about the.
Yeah, certainly black cherry and oaks are the two tree types, genera, that harbor the most caterpillars, even though that might not be why we plant them. That's what they do. And the black cherry is nothing quite like it for flowers, fruits, fall color, interesting bark. It's a great tree, but as it ages, does not make a really good garden specimen. So I've chosen to talk a little bit more about the hollies. Of course, everybody talks about hollies and everybody worries about hollies. Everybody wants holly berries in the wintertime for the birds and for themselves. And here's a picture of a holly, and I don't know what that white stuff is. I think somebody opened some packing material and it flopped out into the yard. We haven't seen snow in so long here. You've probably forgotten about it. But these winterberry hollies can hold up to winter and will look great. And everybody's problem, however, is getting those berries to form. And the secret, it's not really a secret, but the secret is to know that hollies come in 2 sexes. So you see the picture on the right, male and female holly flowers. The female flowers are on the left in that picture. They just have green ovaries. The male flowers are on the right, and they have yellow stamens. They make pollen. So you've got to have both male and female in your yard near each other to get a really good crop of berries like you see here. My male berry hovers over this female, and during pollination season, the bees work them both greatly. After pollination, I cut the male back so he's not making too much shade, and he'll grow back out next year and be there for pollination. But you've really got to have the right male and the right female matched up. So if you want to grow a holly like this one, which gets about 10 feet tall, it's the old-fashioned original winterberry holly that grows wild throughout the eastern North America, and you can get many different cultivars of this, but each one blooms at a different time, so it needs the right male to go with it. The winterberry holly in our climate here needs the cultivar Southern Gentleman is the normal male that goes with winterberry holly. So for whatever female holly you get for its berries, you got to have the right male. If you have the dwarf red sprite winterberry holly that gets about 5 feet high or less and covered with half-inch berries, you need a Jim Dandy as the pollinator. My neighbor has one of those, and it's magnificent. The plant is about 5 feet tall and wide. Never has been pruned, covered with berries, and right next to it, behind it, is a Jim Dandy. So you gotta have the right chemistry, timing, compatibility, get your sexes together in order to have holly berries. Paula?
Yeah, I just listening. I love the I don't know if people have probably seen several places in Charlotte at some of the interchanges, the interchanges of the interstates. There's like masses of the smaller winter berries planted, and they're just really stunning. And
it's amazing uptown on the Belt Brookshire Freeway around Charlotte. There's patches of these things that, and it's just amazing that they bloom so heavily in that an inhospitable environment.
Right, right.
When in the wild, they like it on the wet side. Black gum is, if you want to plant the single, what I think is the single best ornamental tree that's fast growing and still looks good and all that, is black gum, Nyssa sylvatica. Great foliage, great growth, no diseases, makes blue, black berries that birds love. So if you have room in your yard, they do get big. Not as big as an oak, but they do get big. If you have room for a black gum, there's some great cultivars of those these days.
And then I was just going to say something about black cherry. Maybe you already said this. You know, it's not a species that we tend to find for sale everywhere, but we certainly find it around. You can certainly find it growing in your property. Yeah. And it's just such a fabulous host, and, you know, feeding for the birds too, as far as the fruits, that even though it may not be the most attractive ornamental, if you can find a spot to leave one or two, it's really a valuable plant.
And if you don't have one, just wait 5 minutes.
Right, true.
And one will come grow in your yard.
Right.
And if you want it to continue growing, just give it some space. And they grow really fast and perform under any variety of circumstances.
So I think Beth's gonna choose a question or two.
Well, one question was, are the leaves of black cherry toxic to either humans or pets?
They're toxic to cattle and horses. If they eat fresh black cherry foliage, I understand it'll kill them. But
yeah, there's cyanide compounds, right?
Yeah, they're too bitter. You know, children or pets wouldn't normally eat them, and you just have to be careful not to use them to roast a hot dog on. So be aware of that aspect of chewing on cherry twigs or munching down on cherry seeds.
All righty, and all of the trees that you mentioned you would want to plant in a sunny area, they wouldn't do well in shade, would they?
Well, all of those are forest trees, black cherry and the oaks, the black gum, they all come up in the forest, so they will, and you could plant them there. But if you want them to make a nice specimen in a grassy lawn, plant them out in the sun, and they'll grow up and be very nice. If you want to have some back in the shade, you know, you can do that too, but I would thin out some of the other saplings to give these new trees more space to grow. And I don't know why you would need to plant them in the woods, because you'd already have trees. So most people would be wanting to plant one of these out in the open where they could see them as ornamentals as well as trees.
I have Nyssa seedlings come up in my garden, and I've let several of them grow, and I just think they're pretty attractive in the shade compared to
they're great
like
anywhere.
The oak seedlings or the you know, the black cherry in the shade specifically. Yeah. The Nyssas look good in the shade.
There's nothing prettier than a black gum, full stop. There are some things that are just as pretty, but there's nothing prettier. Right. So,
yeah. And someone asked, do you need male and female black gums?
You do if you want berries, but there are plenty of those around. You can't walk 20 feet anywhere in Piedmont here not run into a black gum. They're everywhere, so you would get enough for pollination if you have a forest nearby.
Right.